In 1866, Fyodor Dostoevsky had 26 days to write a novel. If he failed to deliver, he would lose the rights to all his works for 9 years. He was also addicted to gambling. He had lost everything at the roulette tables, multiple times: his watch, his coat, his wife's jewelry. He sat down and wrote The Gambler, not as a confession, not as a warning, as the most honest examination of addiction ever put on paper. The story takes place in a fictional German spa town called Roulettenburg. The name tells you everything. At the center is Alexei, a young tutor, intelligent, self-aware. He knows exactly what he's doing. He watches himself make every wrong decision and makes them anyway. He's in love with Paulina, a woman who will never love him the way he needs. And he gambles, not to win, not for money, to feel something real in a world that feels unreal. This is what Dostoevsky understood that most people miss. The gambler does not bet to become rich, he bets to feel alive. In the moment before the wheel stops turning, everything is possible. Hope exists in its purest form. That feeling, that brief electric certainty that everything could change, is worth more to the addict than the money itself. When Alexei finally wins a fortune, he gives it all to Paulina. She takes it and leaves anyway, because the money was never what this was about. Halfway through the novel, something unexpected happens. The grandmother arrives, an elderly Russian woman. Everyone has been waiting for her to die. The general needs her inheritance to survive. Instead of dying, she goes to the casino. She loses everything in 2 days and leaves. Dostoevsky uses her to show something brutal. The roulette wheel does not care who you are. It does not care how old you are, how wise, how wealthy. It simply turns. And the person who believes they can control it is always the most dangerous fool in the room. Dostoevsky knew this from experience. He once described the feeling of winning at roulette as the greatest sensation he had ever felt. He also described watching himself lose everything again and again, unable to stop. He understood something that psychology would only confirm a century later. Addiction is not about the substance, it is not about the gambling table. The few seconds when the noise in your head goes quiet, when nothing matters except the next spin, and then the quiet ends and you need it again. At the end of the novel, Alexei has lost everything. Paulina's gone, his money is gone, his dignity is gone, he's writing from a debtor's prison in Germany, and he still believes one more game, one more spin, one big win, and everything will be different. This is the part that should disturb us, not the losing, the hoping, because Dostoevsky is not writing about gamblers, he's writing about human beings, about our inability to accept that some things cannot be won, some people cannot be won, some pain cannot be gambled away. We do not sit at roulette tables today, but we scroll, we refresh, we check. One more notification, one more like, one more look. The dopamine loop is the same, the hope is the same, the brief relief followed by the need for more. Dostoevsky wrote The Gambler in 1866. He was describing a mechanism built into every human being, not a character flaw, a feature, one that the modern world has learned to exploit with frightening precision. The stenographer Dostoevsky hired to help him finish this novel was a young woman named Anna. She later became his wife. She helped him find his way out of the addiction. He never gambled again. The man who understood the trap of eternal hope finally found something worth more than the next spin. That is perhaps the most important detail in the entire story, not the addiction, the way out.